brace yourself for the literal terror I'm about to share with you. I don't even know if this is the place for a story like this, but I can't think of anywhere else to talk about it, and I just need to put it out there. I've told everyone under the sun about this. My family, my neighbors, my friends, random news outlets. It's never enough. I can't really explain it, but I feel some weird obligation to inform as many people as possible about what's been happening to me. So here goes. It's November of 2019 as I'm writing this. The story goes way back. I'm talking like 7 years plus. I can't tell you the exact year off the top of my head. Let's just say 2012. It might have been 2013, but that's my best guess. I was in my mid-20s with a stable job and girlfriend who is now my fiancée. I never went to college, so I had been in the workforce for a while, and it was unlikely that my life would ever experience any drastic change. Because of that, there was no reason for me to move far away from home, so I didn't. At that age, my girlfriend and I had just moved into my childhood home that my parents so graciously passed on to me as my first house. It's an extremely old brick house that my dad had actually inherited from his parents when he was around 40, so I'd be keeping it in the family. The house itself has seen a few rounds of renovations, but you can still tell it's old. It's the brick that gives it away. There are very few brick houses in our area, so it sticks out like a sore thumb. I kind of like that though. It feels special. Speaking of our area, we live in a very woodsy neighborhood, so the houses are spaced pretty far apart. Our house is also the last lot on our street, so instead of bordering the woods on just one side, we border it on two. The woods back there is massive, and I mean massive. As a kid, my brothers and I would often go exploring in there, but no amount of aimless wandering ever got us even close to charting the whole thing. I'm sure some people would find that intimidating, but I've always enjoyed the wilderness, so it wasn't a big deal to me. Plus, I'm a guy who likes keeping to myself. I always have, so being isolated in my own little corner of the earth was appealing. Anyway, my girlfriend and I had been living there for a few months when all this started happening. It was sometime in the winter. I can't remember the exact month. All I know is that there was snow on the ground. It was sometime after 8 in the morning on a Sunday, the one day a week I got to sleep in. As I was getting in my pickup truck to treat myself to a coffee like I do every Sunday morning, I noticed something odd. In the driveway, right next to my car, there was what looked like a trail of footprints in the snow. My first thought was that my girlfriend had somehow woken up before me without me hearing her, and she came out to the driveway for whatever reason. But the more I looked around, the more I realized that was impossible. The path led across my front yard and through the hole in our side yard fence, meaning the footprints had originated from somewhere in the woods. On top of that, the trail didn't lead anywhere near our house, meaning they couldn't have been created by my girlfriend. I remember standing there, confused as hell. The trail didn't lead around our house or up to any of the windows, just the driver's side door of my car. That meant someone had walked directly from the woods to my car, only to immediately turn around and walk shit done. I'm about to chill. Obviously wasn't responsible for it. I wish I could give you more details about that first instance, but it was so long ago that that's about as much as I remember. It must have been at least 2 years after that. I ain't went live in a long time. I specifically remember it being 2015 because that was the Where is everybody? Probably ain't gonna be anybody. I woke up that morning and walked to my car. I ain't went live in like a month, and when you do that, it takes you off the algorithm. As soon as I stepped outside, I instantly knew something was you gotta keep up with it. You gotta do that shit like every day, 2-3 times a day, or you won't. YouTube won't reward you. That's how it goes. I'm a pretty level-headed guy, so I'm not gonna say I started panicking, but I'd be lying if I said I was completely calm. For my girl, I get this shit done real quick. I'm gonna feed and water the dog, the rabbit. Take the garbage out, do the dishes, and I'm about to chill and watch Shameless. My favorite show. I gotta go to bed early because I switched my job. I changed to a different job tomorrow. I gotta get up early. I'm not used to having to get up early though. What's up, Sarah? Saying it had been bothering her all day. At first, I was
Yo, what up? Armani? My bad. I see it now though. Yeah, like how you spelled it different. I got you. My bad about that. Hey, can you hear me good with me having this podcast playing, or is it way too loud?
I was at a loss for
I
words.
can face it. I put it on the refrigerator so it's not like right up in your
My
guys'
girlfriend
ear.
suggested that maybe it was some kind of animal, but the prints genuinely looked like two human feet. We went inside and called my dad, but he said he'd never experienced anything like that in all his years of living in that house. He told me to grab my rifle and try tracking down whoever had left the footprints. I really didn't want to,
Cristiano,
but I knew this kind of thing was
what's
my
up?
responsibility. My girlfriend wanted to
Oh
call the
yeah,
police,
I'm in
but
America.
I knew that would be a waste of time. We had no evidence that a crime was committed.
I want to
I
get
didn't
out of
think
this state
trespassing
though.
warranted a search.
I'm
I told
definitely
her I'd call the police
I'm
if I
over
found
living in
something
Ohio,
else.
especially in the wintertime.
Like I said before, that
Shit's
woods is its
corny.
own world. So I told
Anybody else
myself I'd
around
turn back as
from
soon as the
the
sun
Midwest
started
on
going
here?
down. I slung my rifle over my shoulder and headed out. I must have been following the trail for like 30 minutes when I noticed something really strange. Seemingly out of nowhere, the trail
Yeah,
split into
somebody
two
was saying,
diverging
where is
paths.
everybody? I used to
I
get
didn't know
big
which one to
lives,
follow.
but not no more.
Hell, I didn't even know that was
The last
possible.
couple times I did
I
it,
thought
I
maybe
didn't have
whoever
no,
had left the
like,
trail had doubled back to
the
confuse me.
biggest one was like
Then a
50,
scarier
and,
thought
and
hit
it
me.
didn't even last that
There
long.
more than one
I
person
used
out
to
there.
get 200 people at a
I was
time,
under
but
the
not no more.
impression that I had been tracking one person this whole time. The possibility of multiple people had never even occurred to
Like I
me.
was saying, YouTube will punish
That
you
was
if
enough to
you
shame
don't
me
get
out,
on. I
though.
don't care what
I
anybody
wasn't totally
says. That's how it
comfortable knowing I
works.
could be
If
outnumbered
you
out
don't get
there.
on,
I stood there a little while
it
longer
won't push you
before
in the
deciding to turn
algorithm
around.
if you like
It was
take a
getting
break.
dark anyway.
It's crazy.
As I
Only
was
people
walking
that you
back,
see that
I
got
felt
real big
nothing but those
lives
footprints.
with a shit
I
ton of
felt like I would never
subscribers,
notice that too many people
they're
were trying to
going
walk
on
in
there
the same
probably every day, at
footprints.
least once a
There's no
day.
way the person in the back could have done it without messing up at least once. And then I
So if I
thought
do
that
that for
maybe someone
about a
had
week
walked
or 2 weeks,
backwards or
it'll
keyword the
slowly
woods to make
start
it look like there had been two people
pushing
there
me
before.
back.
And then, obviously, there was the possibility that it was just one person who doubled back on himself. Maybe someone had been carrying
What's
another
everybody
person
up
on
to
his
though?
back and just got tired. I really didn't know which explanation was the most disturbing. We did end up calling the police that night. As I predicted, they told us there wasn't much they could do without definitive evidence of a crime. I told my girlfriend I was going into
Any of
the
you
woods
guys
again the next morning, but it snowed
watch
pretty heavily that
or
night,
listen to
so there
like
were
any
no prints to
horror
follow
YouTube
anymore.
channels
My girlfriend
or
was
like
obviously
podcasts? Because
terrified.
if so, I
There
want
was
to know
literally
like a
nothing
good
we could
idea
do.
for a new one.
Luckily, that was the last thing that happened that winter. In fact, nothing happened for a few years after that. I would go as far as to say
Thought
we had
about going
forgotten
back
about
to
the whole
watching
thing.
that Sir Spook.
A lot had happened since then. My girlfriend and I got engaged in that time frame. We were focusing on other things. I wouldn't be writing this if the story ended there, though. What I'm about to tell you happened less than a year ago. It was just after the new year, so January of this year.
I know at least
One day,
somebody in
I
here
woke up
watch
to
that show
footprints
Shameless
all
though.
over
I
my
love that
property.
shit. I've been catching up
Just
on it
like that, all the
because I was
memories came
gone a long
flooding
time,
back.
and when I
My
got back
fiance
around,
actually broke
I
down in
started
her bed,
watching it and catching
asking
up
if
on
we'd
it.
ever escape this
But I
nightmare.
didn't realize there was
I
11
didn't know what to tell
seasons,
her. It
and
was
I'm only
actually
on
worse
number
this time.
7.
There were footprints leading to my shed, and a bunch of tools were missing. God knows what else those people had done.
Now that I
I was furious. I called up my friend Theo,
now
explained the
that I'm about to be
situation,
back
and
on my
asked him if he'd
full-time
help
work,
me.
I ain't gonna
He was
ever
a
have
big
time to
wilderness
finish
guy,
it because I
a
was
much
just
more
working
experienced hunter than I
with a
am,
construction
which is
crew,
part of the reason I
and it
asked him for
wasn't
help. He agreed and drove
jam-packed
over to
on
my
my
place a
schedule,
few
but
hours
now it
later.
will be.
My fiance was worried sick, but I promised her that Theo and I would be able to handle ourselves. We dressed for the cold and geared up, knowing we might be out there for hours. The reason I wasn't worried about the darkness this time around was because Theo had this really expensive thermal scope for his AR-10,
Yeah, and I just made a
which would allow us to
Discord
see in
too
low
because
visibility.
I
never spent that much money on hunting
just
equipment,
got
so I'd still be blind.
both
But it
systems,
was
so
definitely
now I'm about to
calmer
start
knowing
playing
at least
games
one of
again.
us would be able to see.
I might try to for
The
real. I
heat
might
got
just turn
cold,
my
and I was
channel
pretty
into
scared
a
by the
gaming
time we headed
channel.
out. At first,
Thinking
Theo
about
and I
it, I don't
talked
know.
as we walked, but after 45 minutes, we were mostly silent. It's like the seriousness of the
Like
situation hit
swipe
us both
over
at
and
the same
just do
time.
just
I
straight
remember praying to
all
God that I hadn't
video
dragged Theo
games.
into
I
some
got
horrible situation.
PlayStation 4 and an Xbox
I'm not
One.
sure how long we walked after
So
that.
even though they ain't got the
Eventually,
newest
the tracks once
systems,
again split into two
I'm
sets
happy
of
with that,
footprints.
because
We followed the one on the left for a few minutes.
imagine if you was gone 7 years and everybody else thinks those systems are old, but you don't, because it's still brand new to you. That's exactly what it was.
I didn't want to think about it, so we just kept following the footprints in silence. I'm not kidding you. There were at least 3 other dead ends that forced us to retrace our steps, wasting valuable daylight.
I'm almost done right now, about 3 more minutes, and I'll sit down and be able to actually do the live.
That a trail of footprints didn't look like it had been stepped on multiple times. I'm telling you, it wasn't normal. The one upside, which Theo pointed out to me, was the dead ends likely meant we were tracking just one person. Eventually, it started getting dark. We were really deep in the woods at that point. I didn't recognize my surroundings at all. The trail of footprints didn't diverge for a long time after that. Theo said whoever we were tracking had probably given up trying to make dead ends. Another 5 minutes or so passed.
Hey, I already know my woman thinks I ain't gonna do this.
We were getting closer.
But she's about to come in the door, probably thinking she's gonna have an attitude that I didn't do this right here. And I'm gonna have it done.
The sun was basically all
Happy
the way
wife,
down
happy
now,
life.
so Theo was checking his scope every so often. The snow gave me some visibility, but I'll be honest, I probably would have turned around had it not been for Theo's scope. We were walking in complete silence. Out of nowhere, Theo reached against my chest, motioning me to stop. I looked at him. He was looking straight ahead through his scope. I couldn't see what he was looking at, so I just kept looking at him. It looked like he was holding his breath. I had never seen him so still. After a good 20 seconds, he slowly made his way over to the nearest tree and crouched down. I followed suit, not even questioning why. He looked through his scope again, and I could see his hand begin to tremble slightly.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie, and on March 19, 2022, I was sitting
I gotta pay for my fucking YouTube premium shit or whatever they call it. I had it before. I hate these ads. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. That shit's annoying. Every time you get into a video, it's just ad. Definitely very, very grateful to say though. I don't need like 50 more watch time hours. I need to make some long form videos. Like 30-minute long videos. Something good enough that will make people want to actually watch it. And that'll boost up my 50 hours because we've been trying to get to 3,000 hours for a couple months now. And we're almost there. It's gonna feel like a great accomplishment.
Thank you. Oh, and it was 2 days before my 31st birthday, so what a great birthday gift.
Man, my son done brought a cat home today and shit. A random ass cat.
Another 20 seconds of complete silence. I was dying of suspense, so I lightly tapped his shoulder. He lowered his rifle and silently handed it to me. I looked through the scope and had to fight back a scream. There were 4 figures huddled in the snow. At first I thought they were bears.
Done right
I
now.
realized they weren't. They were human beings. 2 of them were large and hunched over. The other 2 were smaller. The smaller ones were clinging to a nearby tree, wildly jerking their heads around. They were doing something. I couldn't make out faces or details. The scopes don't give you that, but I could see enough to know they were naked. It was the most terrifying thing I have ever seen with my own 2 eyes. The smaller ones from off the
Damn, I
tree
just caught a
placed
whiff
them
of
on
some
their
weed.
shoulders. They then began walking deeper into
My
the
shit's
woods.
in the box.
Theo and I sat under that tree for what felt like an hour. We didn't dare move until we were positive that there was no way those things could hear us. By the time we got back to the house, hours later, I was surprised to find my fiancée was still awake. She told me she couldn't sleep knowing I was out there, and asked what we found. I told her in as little detail as possible. She was still horrified. We called the police that night, told us they'd search the woods the first thing the next morning. Theo agreed to stay the night so that he could assist the police in their search. The next morning, fiance demanded that they keep searching, but they said they couldn't sanction the search over some missing tools. I don't blame them, but it didn't feel like closure. Even I knew what we saw. Winter's fast approaching, and both my fiance and I are worried those people are going to come back again. We're seriously considering moving.
Now that I can actually sit down and get into it.